So good day everyone, this is Osheen Wright with another video on the Oshini Creations YouTube channel. Welcome, thank you so much for being here. So this video is basically to share my Junk Journal January 2024 journey so far. I have really been enjoying Junk Journal January. I've just been enjoying the journey that this Junk Journal January 2024 has really been taking my creativity, and I just want to share how I have reached so far. Currently, as I am recording this, it is January 9, 2024, and so we are on day 9. And I just want to show you my journey so far, right? So this is the cover of my journal that I'm using for Junk Journal January. And normally when I do these type of challenges, like for instance, Junk Journal January, and I did Messy May last year, the book that I use for these type of challenges, I don't normally call them Junk Journal January or Messy May. I normally use a cover title that means something to me for that year. So being that this is January 2024, it's the start of a new year. You know, I have goals and focuses that I want to focus on for my new year, and this is one of them. So this is the reason why this is on the cover of this book. So I want, every time I open it, I want to be reminded that this is one of my focuses for this year. So the way I made this book, this is actually an old hardcover book cover. So this is what it looked like initially, and so I took the cover from a hardcover book, and then I decorated paper with paint and everything, and I pasted it on the cover. So I transformed it from looking like this to looking like this. I am not sure what I'm going to use to decorate this yet, but when I get there, you will know. But so far, I love how this looks. And so this is the cover. And so we get to, and so first of all, there is a prompt list for Junk Journal January 2024. It can be found on the Meg Journal's Instagram page as well as her YouTube page, because she is the host of the challenge, along with Get Messy Art, right? So the prompt list is on her page, and also if you follow me on Instagram at Oshini Creations, most times whenever I post my entries each day, I share the prompt list as well, so you can find it there as well. So as I scroll through this book, the entries are not in any order, in any particular order, right? So this one that you're looking at is what I did for day 4, which was tuck spot. And by tuck spot, a tuck spot is basically similar to a pocket. A tuck spot is basically a place that you create within a book where you can tuck things, you can put things in. So this is the cover of the tuck spot, and for this I placed my personal, on this cover I placed my personal prayer for 2024 by Osheen Wright. I wrote this prayer in the format of poetry, and so I placed it on the cover of this tuck spot because, you know, as I open this book, I want this book to be a book that I want this book to be a book that I consistently look in 2024, right? So I am very intentional about the things that I place in here, right? And so this is what makes it a tuck spot. You know, the fact that I can tuck things into it. And so for this one, sorry about that, the papers are crushing up. For this one, I made a double tuck spot. And what I did was, I had some other hardcovers lying around, and so what I did was I taped them together. I taped this hardcover book cover, this one, together with this one, and that was how these two tuck spots were created. So what I did was I taped here and here and here. So I taped it this way, and then when I finished taping it, I was only left with this opening, and that's what made it a tuck spot. And so this was what I did for day 4, which was tuck spot. Now, day 1 was resolutions, right? And I did multiple pages for resolutions. This is actually the first page I did. And then I'm not going to show what's here because this is personal, but this is also resolutions as well. And I did this. I also did this. So all of these are my resolutions for 2024. This is also one of my resolutions for 2024 in the form of a poem entitled I Choose to Turn a New Page, right? It says, I've encountered failures and mistakes in my journey through life. Deep traumatizing pains like great earthquakes have knocked me down, inflicting wounds deeper than a sharp knife. I've let these situations chain me in prisons of self-pity, procrastination, and deep regret, stifling my ability to create innovations, allowing me to operate with a defeated mindset. But today is the day. I choose to turn a new page. No longer will failures, mistakes, and pains put me in bondage. But at the school of their feet, I will become a student, extracting from them life lessons, leading to great improvement. So even though this is a poem, this is something that I want to guide my life in 2024 and even beyond, right? And also these as well. So that's why they are there. So this, I did this page for resolutions, this page as well. This page that I'm not showing because it's personal, those are also resolutions. This is another of my resolutions in the form of a poem entitled Embrace Your Difference, Make It Your Survival Key by Oisin Wright. This is another one in the form of a poem also. Yes, so these are all my resolutions that I place in this book for day one. Because I want 2024 to be an intentional year for me. And these resolutions that I have put into this book are very, very important to me. They come from a very deep place. And so, I intentionally want to live my 2024 according to these resolutions. And by extension, my whole entire life. So I was happy that I was able to put this in Jung Journal January 2024. So this one was for quote. The Jung Journal January prompt I did this one for was quote. But I didn't write it there and I don't remember which day it was. But this was done for quote. Or let me say, this was one of the ones I did for quotes. Because what I'm doing is, I am not limiting myself to just do one page for the prompts. Some prompts will allow me to do one page. And then sometimes different prompts will push me to do 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages, 6, 7, 8, whatever, depending on how I'm inspired. So in this journal, I'm just going with the flow and letting my creativity speak, right? And so for this one, I place a quote that one of my best friends told me years ago, and to this day, it's still encouraging me. For this one was throwback. And so for throwback, I went back and looked for some encouragements that have been told to me by different people in the past. And so that's what I chose to focus on with throwback. This is not a part of throwback. This is just a placeholder for the pocket. So what I did for this one was I got brown paper, beige paper, different color papers, and I tore them up in a design that I liked, and I pasted it on this, and then I pasted a small envelope on top of the background I created, and then I used more brown papers, different shades of brown papers, to blend the envelope into the background, and that's how you see this here. And so this is also personal, and that's personal too. All right, that's also personal. Yeah, so for this one, I don't remember which prompt this is for. I really don't remember, because the thing about it for me is that in this, as I said, as I'm doing Jung Journal January in this book, I'm going as my creativity leads. So sometimes I will do the prompts before I get there. So I think this is one of the later prompts. So that's why I don't remember which one it is yet. But when we get there, I will post it. But so far, it is here, and I really love it. Yes, these are other entries I have in this Jung Journal January. I'm not sure which prompt I'm going to connect these two to as yet, but I love them. I love everything that I'm showing here thus far. These two were for the prompt memory. Yes, these two were for the prompt memory. So this basically was a memory of when I did some research, and based on research and based on a sermon, well, not a sermon, based on a teaching I heard somebody do about, the person was doing a teaching somewhere that I was listening to, and the person spoke about pimento trash, and based on what the person said about pimento trash, as well as something else that I was researching regarding pregnancy, I came to understand why people hurt you. And so that's why this was written. And so this is a beautifully, very important memory to me. And so this is why I decided to use this for the prompt of memory. I also decided to use this one for the prompt of memory as well, because I created this prayer method last year, and it's a really beautiful experience that led to it being created, and it's a memory I love remembering. So I'm happy to have this here for the prompt of memory. I have not gotten to the prompt that I'm going to use, that I'm going to put this underneath yet. So you can just call these preparation pages. So this is a preparation page. For this one now, this one was day 5 daily log, right? And so for this one with daily log, this one is very special to me because since 2024, I have placed my life into categories, right? And so one of the categories of my life for 2024 and beyond is focus on your relationship with God. Now, hidden within this category are certain things that I want to accomplish. So in order to focus on my relationship with God, in order for me to have a beautiful relationship with God, I want to live in the word, meditate on it, know it. I want to constantly pray and prayer journal. I want to fast. I want to meditate. I want to learn how God is speaking to me. And I also want to upgrade my PVC pipe / address the source problem. Now, the upgrade my PVC pipe is unique to me because of something that God allowed my best friend to say to me, which is unique to my life, but it's greatly important. And so when I go throughout my days and I focus on at least one of these things each day, this will help me to have a deeper relationship with God, right? And so it was just fitting for me to use these things to create a daily log, right? And so that's what I did. And I also created a pocket. Well, no, I did not create a pocket. What I did was I had an envelope that I got some happy mail from somebody. And what I did was I pasted the envelope on one of the pages that was in this book. And then I used paper, different types of papers, to blend the envelope into the page, right? So you couldn't tell that an envelope was here unless I told you. So I blended the envelope into the page. And then this is what we have here, a place where I can tuck things in. Now, as I said, since this year, I place my life into different categories. The categories are on this other side. There are categories there that are personal, so that's why I'm not sharing it on the internet. But I created this as well the same time I created this. This is one of the categories that's around here, but there are other categories there that are personal. All right, let's put this back in. Okay, let's continue. All right, these are two other preparation pages. I am not sure which prompt I'm going to connect them to yet. I think I could connect this to quote, just as how this one is connected to quote. I think this could be a quote as well, because this is something one of my best friends said, Brother Hodari Phillips. Sometimes some people don't need a tour guide or a navigator. They need to find the place themselves. It is needed for growth. And I could also connect this to memory as well as this, because I remember when Brother Hodari used this as well as this to encourage me. These are two of the many things that have been said in the conversations that we have had over the years, and they are beautiful memories to me. So it could be for any of those codes, for any of those prompts. And for this one now, this one took me to new places, right? So the prompt for this one is foliage, and I did not know what foliage was, right? And this one is the prompt for day 9. And as I had said at the beginning of this video, when I was recording this, while I am recording this, it is actually January 9. So when I am recording this, this is the prompt for the day that I am recording this. So the prompt for January 9 is foliage. And I did not know what foliage was. So I researched it and I realized that foliage is leaves or greenery or vegetation. So what I did was I went through some old books that I had at home and I looked for leaves and greenery and so on. And these are what I found, right? So what I did was I tore them up and I glued them on my page to create a background, right? And so that's what I did. And then I pasted this sermon now on top of this background. I did that because this sermon was preached on January 8th, 2024 at the general campaign of the Magati Shiloh Apostolic Church. And the name of the sermon was Delivered by Unusual Means. It's taken from St. John 9, verses 6 to 9. And it was preached by my assistant pastor, Dr. Paulette Frank. And I'm telling you, when I heard the topic Delivered by Unusual Means, I was in awe. And then when the sermon continued and God used her to say stuff like, get ready for God to deliver you by unusual means, and how God used her to connect the topic delivered by unusual means to what was going on in the scripture, St. John 9, verse 6 to 9, and how I saw how both that topic and the stuff that she was saying connected to St. John 9, verse 6 to 9. I was in awe and amazed. And this sermon was really a beautiful one for me. And she said stuff like, your situation is waiting for the manifestation of God in that family that you are in. Your situation is waiting for God to show how he can deliver you through unusual means. Your situation is just waiting for God to deliver you through unusual means. When God is working in his unconventional way, just accept what God is doing. If God is going to use unconventional ways to deliver you, you have to be willing to work with it. And so, there are times when God will not use the normal route to deliver you, to bring you out. There are times when he will do things and you're like, what is that? That don't make no sense. But to God, it makes sense and it's unusual. And so this just encourages me that when God is doing unusual things in my life, I should just trust him. And so this sermon means a lot to me, and that's why it's in my Junk Journal 2024 book. So this is another entry for Daily Log again, and I did not post this one on my Instagram still, but this one is special to me because I follow Morgan Harper Nichols, and she posted this word of the year video that we were supposed to, this word of the year video that had different words moving fast in it, and whichever word we screenshot, that would have been our word for the year, right? And so I did that earlier in January, I think January 1 or 2 or one of those days, and I got the word steadiness. So steadiness is one of my words for this year, along with the word trust that I did from a Dayspring quiz, right? But on January 5, I decided to go back for Morgan Harper's video again. And I screenshotted. And the first time I screenshotted, I got rooted. And I was in awe because rooted was actually one of my 2023 words for the year. So I just found it interesting that I got rooted again, but I did not really pay much attention. And I decided to screenshot again on January 5. And I did this screenshotting twice this time. And let me tell you, the words were going by very, 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 very fast. So there is no guarantee that you're actually going to get one word twice. Right? Because I've been trying to screenshot steadiness again, and it took me a long time before I could get back to steadiness again, so that I could actually write off or see what was on steadiness in a clearer way. So after I screenshot on January 5 and I got rooted, I screenshot again 2 times, and I didn't look at it. Right? I didn't look at it until after I did the 2 screenshots. So I did the 2 screenshots same time, and I didn't look at it until after I did the 2 screenshots. And when I decided to look, I realized that I screenshot the word breakthrough 2 times. I was amazed. And so that's the reason why I journaled this year in day 5 for Daily Log as well, because that's something that I really am happy to log and remember. Right? So, yes. And so for this one now, this one was a mistake actually. So what I did was this one was for the prompt, for the day that had the prompt stitched. So what I had intended to do, I had intended to just stitch 1 page. Like you see, like, oh, this is 1 page. I had intended to just stitch 1 page. But what ended up happening was I ended up stitching these 2 pages. Let me make sure you can see it well. Oh my, tripod is moving. I ended up stitching these 2 pages together, right? And when I realized it was too late, so I decided to keep it and let it be turned into a pocket instead. So I placed these things in it, and then what I did was I used some painted paper and flowers that I got when I went to Portmore with my brother. I used these things to cover the stitching, so you can't see the stitching, so you wouldn't know it was stitched unless I told you, which I just did. And then I used a Dear Future Oisin letter that I wrote to my future self on September 26, 2023. I pasted this letter on this background. And then I did the same thing here. I used paper to cover the stitching. And then I placed a poem about my dream on this background. And I really love how this page turned out. It wasn't what I had intended to do, but I love how it turned out. And so this is another prepped page again. And this is what I did for the prompt, neutral. Neutral are basically colors like black, white, brown, beige. So for this one, I used black and white wrapping paper that I got when I went to church sometime last year. And so this is that. And that's what I used to create this page. And then these are just prepped pages again. And then these are pages that have yet to be designed. So this is what Junk Journal January 2024 has been like so far. The journey hasn't ended yet. It's just day 9 that I'm recording this. I am excited to see how the journey will unfold. And I am just loving what I have been putting into this journal so far. They are encouragements to me, you know. And I know that as I go through 2024 and I look at this journal, I will be encouraged to keep my resolutions in front of me. I will be encouraged to live my life according to these goals, you know, as I seek to dig deeper into the Lord. So I hope you enjoyed this. God bless you in Jesus' name.